up to date on some other breaking news this hour. There's been a powerful earthquake off the coast of Japan. What we're reading is a magnitude 7.
A 6.6 magnitude earthquake has struck China's southwestern Sichuan province. Scores of people have been killed and over 2,000 injured. The quake was felt in neighbouring provinces, causing people to flee buildings in search of safety.
Media reports are quoting officials suggesting that hundreds may have been killed.
A number of aftershocks followed, the strongest one just 5 minutes later and measuring 5.1.
Authorities say 6,000 troops are heading to the area to assist rescue efforts. Most of the deaths happened in Lushan as buildings toppled, power lines fell and water supplies were severed.
Villages were reportedly flattened in the magnitude 6.6 jolt. The force was so powerful it shook the earth at least 10 centimetres per second. Survivors say it rumbled on for a long, terrifying minute. Many people didn't have time to escape.
Thousands of residents of the Argentine city of Santiago del Estero in the early hours of Sunday morning caught a glimpse of a suspected meteor that lit up the sky above the city. The event took place at about 3:20 a.m. local time. Argentine authorities believe the spectacular fireball was caused by a meteor entering the Earth's atmosphere and disintegrating. Some witnesses reported to local newspapers that they felt a slight tremor soon after seeing the meteorite. According to local media reports, police in the area were inundated with phone calls from frightened residents.
The suspected meteor lighting up the sky. Residents say they initially got a fright, feeling a slight tremor soon after seeing the spectacular fireball.
A very different kind of natural disaster, deadly flooding in the Midwest. There are states of emergency and disaster declarations in at least half a dozen states right now.
Heavy rains have hammered the heartland all week. Many forced to evacuate their homes. In River Grove, Illinois, canoes replaced cars. Parts of Illinois saw a record 8 inches of rain on Thursday, completely submerging parts of Chicago.
The worst flood in recorded history in parts of the Midwest, and at this hour they are bracing for more rain. Already so bad, this flooding, that people in western Michigan are seeing fish swimming by office windows, ducks as well.
Authorities are at the scene of a sinkhole in Atoll Avenue at Woodville. The stormwater drain has collapsed several metres underground, leaving a Stobie pole leaning at a precarious angle.
Driving from Elgin towards Lossiemouth, going home, and I noticed a massive big cloud in the sky. And as I was going towards it, I realised it was a giant sandstorm. So as I got closer, the sand was just getting thicker and thicker, and it was down to pretty much zero visibility. It's nothing I've really seen in this area before.
A pretty strong quake just off the coast. Now here's the border between Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. A 6.8 magnitude quake, which was only 7 kilometers in depth. This is extremely shallow.
As for a Wolcott family, a meteorite, there it is, crashed right through their roof. Larry Beck said he thought it was just a rock dropped by a plane on Friday night.
When scientists confirmed otherwise, the darkening really piqued my interest that this was something that came down through the atmosphere at a very rapid speed and was vaporizing on its outer shell.
The meteorite crashed into Larry's home around 10:30 Friday night. The rock never fell all the way through. A copper pipe stopped it.
A loud boom was heard along the shoreline just before that meteorite came crashing down.
Those experts say it most definitely could have been that meteorite that really caused that sonic boom heard even on the Connecticut shoreline.
I heard a rumble and then my whole house shook. Do you know what that is?
This is the fifth one to hit Connecticut and the third to hit a house here, which is pretty unusual.
Of a massive sinkhole in Lowell, Vermont.
Mines Road in Lowell is closed indefinitely, and for good reason. Much of it isn't even there anymore. But a family of 3 were driving home late Saturday night in 2 different cars and ended up at the bottom of the hole.
But the sinkhole that swallowed the Richardson family is 30 feet wide by 15 feet deep. A neighbor told me that Mr. Richardson was able to think fast when he saw his wife's headlights disappear and swerve in order to avoid crushing his wife and son.
Now in Boulder at Folsom Street between Colorado Avenue and Taft. These crews expected to work late into the night trying to repair a sinkhole that formed near Folsom Field. Air Tracker 7 over the scene this morning as crews began assessing the damage. The hole itself is about 15 feet by 30 feet, but Folsom Street and the sidewalk along it are cracked all the way to Taft Drive.
It's a massive sinkhole in Boulder. Air Tracker 7 showing the extensive damage to the road.
As you can see, Folsom Street behind me still torn up. The sinkhole in the center of the road.
A 6.2 magnitude earthquake which has hit New Zealand. It
rattled New Zealand's Kermadec Islands, 124 kilometres south of Raoul Island.
From Australia to Norway, Japan to the U.S., thousands of people have reported seeing unidentified flying objects.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And produced pictures they're convinced can prove it. Several hundred of the believers assembled a few blocks from the White House to present their findings, including a former Canadian defense minister.
I say without equivocation, we are not alone in the cosmos. We have neighbors. We should try to get to understand them.
And phoning in his testimony, one of the American astronauts who landed on the moon.
There's a number of us that have had these types of experiences to say, yes, we're not alone. We have been visited.
A 20-foot deep sinkhole opened up in Taylorsville last night, forcing traffic lanes to be closed until at least Monday. Crews have been out there working to repair the hole. Traffic is being directed around the site while road crews work to fill the sinkhole. All north and southbound lanes on 32nd West and 54th South will be closed.
The community of Bayou Corn is making headlines around the world. Since it formed last August, the sinkhole in Bayou Corn has continued to grow.
It's 160 feet deep, but 13 acres wide.
And the ground opening up, swallowing trees, wildlife, and threatening hundreds of homes.
It really sounds like something out of a movie, but this is the reality. This geological event is truly one of a kind.